Hello, mere pyare bachcho, and welcome back. I know your exams are just around the corner, and you're all studying so hard. So today, we're going to tackle one of the most important chapters in civics, democratic rights. And trust me, this isn't just about scoring marks. It's about understanding the amazing powers you have as a citizen. So, are you ready? Let's get right into it.
Just close your eyes for a second and imagine. Imagine if you couldn't post what you wanted on Instagram. Or what if someone else, not you, decided what job you'd do, who your friends would be, or where your family could live? It sounds like a horror movie, doesn't it? Well, that's what a life without rights is like. And these rights are the shield that protects us from that nightmare.
To make this chapter super simple, we're going to follow this little roadmap. First, we'll see some real stories about a world without rights. Then, we'll figure out what rights actually are. After that, the fun part, we'll look at your 6 fundamental rights. Think of them as your personal superpowers. Then we'll find out who protects these powers, and finally, how these rights are always growing. Simple, right? Let's begin.
Okay, first stop. To really understand why something is so good, sometimes you have to see what happens when it's not there. So, to appreciate our rights, let's first look at some true stories from places where these rights were missing. Your textbook gives 3 very powerful examples. We'll touch upon what happened at a place called Guantanamo Bay, how life is different in Saudi Arabia, and a very sad event that happened in Kosovo. And remember, Bachchon, this isn't a made-up story. This is the reality for many people around the world. So let's talk about Guantanamo Bay. Here, about 600 people from all over the world were just picked up and put in prison. The U.S. government said they were enemies. But here's the shocking part. They never got to go to court. There was no trial. They had no chance to say, hey, you've got the wrong person. They were just locked up, away from their families.
And the human cost. It's just heartbreaking. This is a real line from a letter written by a 9-year-old boy whose father was in that prison. He wrote, "I have not seen my dad for 3 years. I know my dad has not done anything because he is a good man." See, when rights are denied, it's not just a rule that's broken. It's families, it's children who suffer.
So, after hearing these sad examples, we have to ask, what's the solution? What exactly are these rights that could have stopped such things from happening? Let's get a really simple definition that you can easily write in your exams.
Okay, so a right is not just a wish, like, I wish I had a new phone. No, a right is a reasonable claim. It's something that society agrees you should have. And here's the most important part. It is protected by the law. That's the magic word. The law acts like a guarantee, making sure everyone gets security, dignity, and a fair chance. Now, this is a super-duper important exam question, so listen carefully. In a democracy, a country like ours that's run by the people, why are these rights absolutely essential? Why aren't they just a nice bonus? What do you think? Well, rights are basically the pillars of a democracy. Without them, the whole building would collapse. They give us the power to vote and choose our leaders. They give us the freedom to speak our minds and form our own groups. They also act as a shield for minority communities, so the majority can't just do whatever it wants. And, very importantly, they put a boundary around the government saying, hey, you can't cross this line. And now from my favorite part, our amazing Indian Constitution gives every single citizen 6 very special rights. They're so special we call them fundamental rights, but I like to call them your 6 superpowers. Let's check them out one by one. Your first superpower is the right to equality. It's simple, but so powerful. It means that, in the eyes of the law, everybody is equal. It doesn't matter if you are the Prime Minister of India or a street vendor. The same laws apply to both of you. This is what we call the rule of law.
Now, this is where a lot of my students get a little confused. They ask me, sir, if everyone is equal, then why do we have reservations in jobs and colleges for scheduled castes and tribes? Isn't that unequal? That's a great question.
And the answer is no, it's not a violation. Think about it. Equality is not about treating everyone exactly the same. It's about giving everyone an equal opportunity to succeed. For hundreds of years, some communities were held back and not given any opportunities. So reservations are like giving them a fair start to help them catch up. It's about making the playing field level for everyone.
Okay, on to superpower number 2, the awesome right to freedom. This is a big one. It basically means you are free to live your life your way, as long as you're not hurting anyone else or breaking the law. It includes things like the freedom to protest peacefully, just like in this picture.
So what kind of freedoms are we talking about? Well, you have the freedom of speech and expression.
Yep, that means your Instagram posts and your YouTube comments are protected by this superpower. You can also have peaceful meetings, you can form clubs or associations, you can travel and live in any part of India, and you can choose any profession you want, be a doctor, an artist, or even a professional gamer.
All right, let's look at superpower number 3, the right against exploitation. This is a very important power that acts as a shield to protect the weaker people in our society, especially children, from being used or harmed by others. Our Constitution specifically bans 3 very bad things. First, it bans traffic in human beings, which is a terrible way of saying the buying and selling of people, especially women and children. Second, it bans bagar, which is forced labor. Nobody can make you work for them for free. And third, it bans child labor. No child under the age of 14 can be forced to work in dangerous places like factories or mines. Okay, let's quickly cover the last 3. Superpower number 4 is the right to freedom of religion. In a country with so many different faiths, this is crucial. It means you are free to follow any religion or no religion at all. Superpower number 5 is cultural and educational rights, which protects the language and culture of all the different groups in India. And finally, number 6, perhaps the most important of all, the right to constitutional remedies.
This brings us to a really important question. I mean, it's great to have all these cool superpowers, right? But what if someone tries to take them away from you? What if the government or some powerful person violates your rights? Who's going to protect you? Who is the guardian of your rights?
The answer is your 6th superpower, the right to constitutional remedies. This is like the ultimate helpline. If any of your other 5 rights are violated, this right gives you the power to go directly to the High Court or the Supreme Court and ask for justice. It's so important that Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the father of our Constitution, called it the heart and soul of the Constitution. Remember that line for your exam.
And finally, my dear students, it's so important to remember that our Constitution is not some old, dusty book that never changes. No, it's a living document. And as our country and society grow and change, our rights can also grow and expand.
Just look at how our rights have grown over the years. The Constitution gave us the basic fundamental rights. From those, new rights have bloomed. The right to information, or RTI, came from our right to freedom of expression. The right to education, which says all children must go to school, is now a fundamental right. And recently, the Supreme Court has said that the right to life also includes a right to food. How amazing is that?
This leaves us with a really interesting question for your generation. Today, people are talking about new rights, like a right to privacy to protect our online data, and a right to a clean environment. What do you think? Should these be our next superpowers? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. I really hope this made the chapter easier for you. All the very best for your exams. I know you are going to be fantastic.